You're doing 170 kilometers an hour. There's no tachometer glowing steady, no comfort in the numbers, just your hands, your gut, and a concrete wall 3 feet from your door. You've won Daytona. You've stood on championship stages. None of that matters right now, because in the next 4 seconds you have to decide whether to trust a car that does not want to be trusted. 2 champions signed up for exactly this feeling. Both of them quit before they ever turned a single lap. 2 of the biggest names in NASCAR put pen to paper on real contracts for a real race on the other side of the world. Both walked away before the green flag dropped. A third man, less famous, less decorated, actually showed up and drove it. His result told its own story, and we will get to every detail of it. But first, the place itself deserves its name, Mount Panorama. Calling it a track undersells what it actually is. For 51 weeks of the year, it is a public road with a 60 km/h speed limit, patrolled by local police like any suburban street. Then, for 1 week, it transforms into one of the deadliest circuits on the planet. Since 1938, 16 people have died on this mountain. Sit with that number for a second, because everything that follows happened in its shadow. Before we go further into why this mountain earns that reputation, here's something worth mentioning. This channel, NASCAR Voltage, is closing in on 500 subscribers, and every one of you watching right now is part of getting us there. If you're new here, hitting subscribe, dropping a like, and leaving a comment genuinely helps this channel grow, and your support matters more than you'd think in keeping content like this coming. Now, back to the mountain that broke 2 champions before they even arrived. The story of how a scenic road became a killer starts with unemployment relief, not motorsport. Mayor Martin Griffin pitched the road's construction as a job creation project to unlock government funding during hard economic times. It was never officially sold as a race circuit. But engineers quietly widened certain corners beyond what had been approved on paper, and that decision would echo for decades. Locals still drive this road every single day. Tourists take it slow, admiring the views. Then, for 1 week a year, the same asphalt becomes something else entirely. The mountain has its own list of ghosts, and each corner carries a name and a memory. The cutting is where Marcos Ambrose and Greg Murphy collided in 2005, neither driver willing to give way. McPhillamy Park, a blind crest with almost no margin for error, put Alan Moffat into the wall, and a year later claimed Win Percy in nearly the identical spot. Griffin's Bend and Quarry Corner carry Dick Johnson's history, struck by a rock while leading the race outright. Conrad Strait proved so lethal that after Mike Bergman's death, organizers carved a chicane directly into it, permanently altering the layout to slow drivers down. And then there is 2015, when Chaz Mostert hit the wall at 170 km/h, shattering his femur and his wrist, with 7 marshals caught in the wreckage that followed. He still came back to win the championship in 2025. This is the arena 2 NASCAR champions signed up to enter. Now watch who blinked. The first name is Kyle Busch. In 2024, he signed on for the Adelaide Grand Final backed by 888, reportedly set to drive a Camaro under an Australian telecommunications sponsor. He quietly walked away, citing a scheduling conflict back home. The second name is Kyle Larson, the 2021 Cup champion, who said outright that Adelaide was the one crossover attempt he genuinely wanted to make. He signed with Erebus Premier Racing as a wildcard entry. Then, weeks after attempting the brutal Indy 500 and Coca-Cola 600 doubleheader in a single day and crashing out of both races, he pulled out of the supercars commitment entirely. Journalist Adam Stern reported the withdrawal directly, writing that Larson had pulled out of his planned supercars debut at Adelaide. The third name belongs to the men who didn't back out. Austin Cindric signed with Tickford Racing. Team CEO Simon Brookhouse called it an extraordinary wildcard addition to the field. Cindric himself said it plainly, "I've been a fan of the Supercars Championship since I was a kid." So here's the question worth asking directly. Why did 2 champions who talked tough on ovals every single week suddenly found reasons to be somewhere else, while the least decorated name among them actually strapped in? Here's what happened when Cindric actually showed up. The weekend was rain-soaked, with conditions shifting from race to race. In his own words, describing the experience, "My first race was wet. I think that's kind of the extent of it," and later, "I would say I'm mildly satisfied, but I want to keep improving." The numbers tell the rest. He finished 21st and 23rd, in a field of just 25 cars. And here is the twist inside the twist, this wasn't even Bathurst. This was Adelaide, a flat, tight street circuit with no elevation change, no blind crests, no adverse camber. It is, by every measure, the gentle cousin of the real mountain. He had help too. 3-time champion Scott McLaughlin texted him daily, and Shane Van Gowen offered data reviews after every session. Even with that mentorship, it still wasn't enough to crack the top 20. Now flip the trip in the other direction, because that's where the real controversy lives. Shane Van Gisbergen crossed from supercars into NASCAR in 2023 and won the Chicago Street Course in his Cup Series debut, becoming the first driver to win on debut in 60 years, since Johnny Rutherford in 1963. His own reaction was measured. "No, of course not, but you always dream of it." In his 2025 rookie season, he claimed 5 wins, the most in NASCAR rookie history. Van Gisbergen also commented directly on Busch's situation, saying he would have loved to see how Busch fared in a supercar, and that if Busch took it seriously, he believed he would do well. One direction, this crossover is a fairy tale. The other direction, it's a warning. Here's the asymmetry laid out plainly. A road racer walks into NASCAR and wins immediately, on debut, against a full field of veterans. A NASCAR champion walks onto the gentler cousin of the mountain and finishes in the 20s. 2 of the biggest names in NASCAR wanted this fight. Both of them found a reason to walk away. The one who didn't finish 21st, make of that what you want. If this kind of real NASCAR breakdown is what you come here for, there's more of it on the way, and the best way to make sure you don't miss it is to subscribe right now. Drop a comment with your take on Busch, Larson, and Cindric's runs, share this video with another NASCAR fan who'd argue about it, and help this channel reach that 500 subscriber mark. If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next.